Introduce yourself and tell us about your dog life journey.
Okay, yes, my name is William Townsend, and I pretty much, man, I've been in love with dogs my whole life. I pretty much, I had them when I was young. My mom she just loved animals, period. It didn't have to be a dog. She would take a cat or squirrel, or if there was something out in the yard, she fed it. But I really was attracted to dogs, and when I got old enough, I started off with pit bulls. Just about pretty much everybody that got into the American bullies or whatever started with pit bulls. I started with pit bulls. I wasn't a breeder. I just had them. I just loved the dogs, period. I mean, I like I said, if I bred them, it wasn't with the intent of making money. It was just, I just loved the dogs. So I had pit bulls, and when the American bullies came around, I got into the American bullies. And I bred American bullies for a nice little while. I made some nice dogs, but I'm really not good at the business end of dogs. So I was a poor promoter. I didn't really attend too many shows. I mean, if I did attend shows, I didn't bring mine. I just wanted to socialize with the community and get out and see other things. But I was horrible at taking pictures. All the things that helped you sell dogs, I was pretty much bad at.
Yeah.
Other than making a good dog, I can make a good dog, but as far as promoting it or promoting myself or puppies or anything that had to do with me making money off the dogs, I was pretty bad at. So I did American bullies for a while, and I didn't like the changes that were happening with the bullies when the exotic movement kind of came. So I kind of stepped back, and I sold most of my dogs, and it got to a point where I was so used to having dogs around me, I just wanted something for the house and for the kids, and just to have a dog around. So that was my introduction into the Shorty Board. I was actually seeing them at probably an American Bully show. I seen them, but I really didn't pay much attention to it. But I wanted something small for the house, and a Frenchie just wasn't my flavor, and I'm a big guy. I'm like 6'4", so a small dog really wasn't my thing. But my wife and my kids, but it was for the purpose of having them in the house. I looked into the Shorty Board. Once I got a Shorty Board, man, I kind of fell in love with them. Man, I started with one for the house. I fell in love with them, and next thing I know, I had 13 of them, man. So that's pretty much been my journey from a kid, just starting off with pit bulls and just always having dogs around me, to actually trying to breed American bullies and stepping back from that and kind of accidentally getting into breeding Shorty Bulls.
So
yeah, man.
What was it about the Shorty Bull compared to like the American Bully that you really liked?
It was the attitude of the dog. I mean, they're small dogs, but they're still athletic, and they still have a little fire to them. I mean, don't get me wrong, these dogs are not man stoppers, or it's not going to stop anybody from breaking in your house, but they have the attitude that they could.
Right.
Even though, at the side they probably couldn't stop anything, but just the attitude. I love it kind of gave me it reminds me of the pit bull attitude, but not as intense as a pit bull, but it kind of gave me that feel.
Yeah. And
I still love pit bulls to this day. I can't afford to have them in my situation, but
yeah.
They kind of gave me that attitude, but they still they're so what's the word I'm looking for? They're versatile dogs, man. They just, however you want them to be, that's how they are. If you want a couch potato, then they'll be a couch potato. If you want to get out and be active with them, they can do that too. So it's the versatility of the dog that I really fell in love with, because they could go out and play with my kids, come in the house, lay on the couch. I mean, it is just whatever I wanted to do with them. I can pretty much do whatever I want to with them. They're 100% right there with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what pretty much. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love the bullies too, but they were a little lazier. I don't want to use the word lazy. They were a little more reserved than a pit bull would be.
Yeah.
And they're bred for that purpose. But the Shorty Board kind of brought back that a little flower and still, you know, had a bully look to it.
Yeah.
You know. I think that's what it was with the whole exotic movement. Everybody pretty much wanted the look of a Shorty Bull, but without saying it was a Shorty Bull.
Right.
But you couldn't get the attitude of a Shorty Bull. So it's kind of, for me, it's the best of all worlds when it comes to the Shorty Bull. I know I'm pretty much pushing the Shorty Bull, but I guess I have become a little biased from be having them for so long and being around so much. But I mean, I really fell in love with them, and like I said, I went from 1 to 13 real fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I mean, for a while, the Shorty Board has been around a lot longer than people actually know it now. I want to say around 20 to 25 years, if I'm not mistaken. It's going in that direction. So it's been around a lot longer than people know. And me myself, I probably haven't been in it just probably around 9 to 8 years. I sat on the sidelines for a while, really just in that transition between bullets and shorties. I really sat back for a while and tried to analyze, you know, where they were going and which direction the breed was headed in. So I feel like when I jumped in, like I said, I jumped in for a pit, and the more and more I looked into it, it was like, well, I'm going to breed, at least it's in the early stages, and I can help, you know, push it to the direction it should go. At least, you know, feel like I'm helping anyway. But they're composite bulldog breed, and I'm sure the intention was to breed for a healthier bulldog, opposed to, you know, a healthier alternative to the English and French.
Yeah.
And it's pretty much an English bulldog, French bulldog, and Staffordshire. And I think the Staffy was meant to bring it all together and would make it a little healthy. And they use the bulldogs they use, the Frenchies and the English bulldogs they use were really athletic and breed with the purpose of being a healthier alternative. So yeah, I mean, it's like I said, I can't say enough good about it. Like I said, it originated in Kansas. Amy Crime and Jamie Sweet, they did a great job. I just try to do my part in promoting and keeping a good light on the Shorty Board, and hopefully, you know, turning more people on to it. I actually feel like the breed should be way more popular, in my opinion. Because like I said, I really believe that they're really great dogs, real sturdy. I don't know anybody, I don't know many English bulldog breeders or French bulldog breeders. I know some, but to be able to keep these dogs outside year round, for me, says a lot. I mean, I live in Nashville, Tennessee. It gets hot. It gets cold here. I keep them out all season, and they're good. I don't have to worry about them passing out or having a heat stroke or, you know, any of that. So that's another thing about me too. It's sturdy little dogs. You know, they pretty much can handle themselves and don't have to worry. I mean, believe it or not, I went through almost every bull breed at one point. Either I've owned it or known somebody that owned them. And I had an English bulldog that would go out, run in the yard, and pull a muscle. And it kind of just, it just really pulled me it tore me up having to take this dog to the vet every other month. Yeah. Because something was wrong. And I'm like, man, I can't do it. Yeah. I mean, but it's just like most bully breeds, though, and it's hard to keep the scale in the middle. Because right now, like I said, like every bull breed, it seems like tends to tilt towards the English bulldog side of things because of the look, and it kind of, you know, it's hard to play the medium when you're trying to breed these dogs. Everybody wants the big bone, the big head, and the bully looks, but with that, you know, it kind of, like you said, it might bring the pinched nostrils, the you know, heavier breathing and things like that. So it's kind of hard to, when you breed these dogs, you always got to keep in mind that, yeah, it's good for it to look good, but at the same time, you want that function, and that's what I try to do with my dogs. I try to play the medium. You know, I still want it to look like I want it to look, but at the same time, I want to keep the drive at all costs. I want to keep the drive. Yeah. and I want them to be healthy like they're meant to be. And like I said, with our bullet breeds, it seems to like the American bullies did, and I think the Frenches had a little run where it was like I was seeing a lot of bigger, more English-looking Frenches walking. I'm like, I mean, let's let the dogs be what they're meant to be, and you know, breed English bulldogs, breed English bulldogs, but you know, if you're gonna breed the shorter, you know, at least play the medium and try to keep them what they're meant to be, which is healthy and durable.
Yeah. Yeah, on that lines, go ahead and kind of talk about your program and what kind of standard that you're looking for in your dogs, and what is the future of the program? You know, where do you see it in 5 or 10 years?
Well, for me personally, I like to keep the drive in the dogs, and I kind of try to. I mean, as best I can, I try to just keep my head and stay in my own yard and breed to my vision. Of course, stay into the vision of the standard. You know, of course, you want a functional dog. You want it to be, you know, you want it to be set to the standard. But I always want mine to be as small as possible. And that's just me. I like them to be as small as possible, but I still want I wanted heavy muscle and good bone and nice size heads and all that, but I wanted to be able to be in, if need be, if people want 2 or 3 and want to keep them in their apartment or house, I want that to be possible and keep them as small as possible. And like I said, still keep them healthy, good and thick and sturdy. And that's how I started with good. When I was looking for my stock, I started with the stock that I felt that vision that I wanted. I wanted small as I could get them, stocky, sturdy, and durable. And that's what I pretty much breed for, and that's what I'm heading to. I mean, I've gotten pretty much every generation I've gotten smaller, and once I get to a nice size that I feel is good, then I want to keep it as small as stocky as sturdy as possible. Right? I know I keep saying it, but that's the only thing I can really think of is like I got a certain look I like. I like the wide chest, and I want to keep the wide chest, and there's certain dogs in my program that you can see them, like, it's starting to become a look. Like I said, I've just been I've been breeding these dogs for 9 years, so I really haven't, I'm still a work in progress, really, so. And it's always going to be that way. You're always striving for the better, keep getting better and better and better, so. Like I said, I'm just now getting to a point where I can look at my dog and say, okay, if I put this dog around other shorty bulls, you can look at this dog and tell it comes from my yard. Yeah. And I try to, like I said, I try not to even look at what other people are doing, because it's hard to, when you have a vision, it's hard to see what's going on and see what's popular and still try to keep what you want. You know what I'm saying? It's easy to get influenced when you see what everybody else is doing, how good they're selling, and, you know, what gets trends and all that stuff that come out when you paying attention to other people. It's really hard to keep your original vision. And I try to, like I said, I try to stay to myself as much as possible and keep my original vision how I wanted it and stick to it as much as possible. I would like all of mine to be, I have some that are really, really tiny, man. And I mean, for my females, I mean, it gets hard when you start getting to those females and you have to breed them, and they're so tiny that you're looking at them, it's like, there's no way this dog can hold 3 puppies. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you want that small dog, but at the same time, it's like, I got to keep my program going. I can't get too small. And so I try to stay around 12 at the most, in the 25 to 30 poundage range. Like I said, I think the height for the standard, I think the max height is maybe 14 inches, I believe. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure if they moved the weight, but I think at one point it was 40 pounds, but I think now it's more about proportions as far as the standard goes. But I like to keep mine from 25 to 30 pounds. That's pretty much where I'm at with it. Like my male's probably more the higher 20 pound range to 30. Females around the 20 pounds, like, man, and now, like I said, I got some dogs that's maybe 10 inches tall, maybe. And, but like I said, once you get that small and compact, because, like I said, pretty much for me, you want the proportions to be right. So if it's 12 inches long, I expect for it to be like, 12 inches tall and 12 inches long, like, so square.
Mm-hmm.
So when you start getting so compact, it kind of, it'll throw off, it'll kind of throw things out when you start getting a little too small. But like I said, it's like, when you breed, you gotta play with it, and you try to find the happy medium with things. And like I said, I try not to get too small, but I do want it as small as possible, and that's kind of where my blood has been going here recently, or what I'm getting, and how I've been breeding. But like I said, it's just playing that happy medium, and out of all the physical traits, I'm more concerned with keeping the drive and keeping the health. Mm-hmm. And that's where it gets tricky, because that's the most important thing to me. And I see it kind of dying off in its horn, because you'll breed yourself in the corner, and you want to go out and use dogs that outside of your yard that has that drive and health that you want. But everybody's not breeding for that, so it's easy to breed yourself in the corner and get stuck doing the same thing over and over. It's hard to progress that way. Right now, I feel like what they used to create the Shorty Board, I feel like was a perfect match. Yeah. I think they did a really good job in creating the Shorty Board, and I think everything that's needed is there pretty much. Mm-hmm. I mean, I can't complain one bit. Like I said, I love these dogs, so it really wouldn't be another breed that I could add that would help the breed out in any way. Yeah. I think where it's at is great. It's just like I said, with any breed, trying to play that happy medium and keeping the look what it is. Mm-hmm. I mean, like I said, it's so many different styles of Shorty Board. But if you can't look at a Shorty Board and say that's a Shorty Board, to me, I mean, it's lost. Yeah. I mean, you're losing the battle. So I try to keep it as Shorty Board as possible. Like I said, I mean, when you're dealing with bully breeds, like I said, it seems like it always tends to everybody gravitates towards the English Bulldog side of things just for that look. But like I said, that healthy balance is the goal. Is the goal for me anyway. Yeah.
And like speaking about health, what is the lifespan that you've had so far?
Man, I've seen some old Shorty Boys, man. Yeah. I've seen like I said, the breed is young, so it's hard to kind of keep I don't know what exactly the average is. Mm-hmm. But I would guess, like I said, I've seen some old, so I would guess 10 to 12 years wouldn't be considered old. I have a male right now, and he's 8, and he's still a maniac. Right. Yeah. I mean, he can. If I let him, he'll go all day. He would chase a ball all day if I let him. Well, and like I said, he's 8 years old, and he's not slowing down at all. So I mean, as far as I know, I don't know how long he'll go.
Yeah, well, that's a good sign.
I don't know how that, and I mean that from what I see, just from people who've been in it longer than me, like from the founders, they have dogs that's been around for 15 years and still look good. Yeah. Still can out here acting like dogs. So.
What's your thought on natural or cropped ears? Do you like them both, or do you have a preference?
I prefer the cropped ear. Yeah. I prefer the cropped ear. To me, it makes for me, I like the crop look better because it just, I don't know, it makes the head better for me. Yeah. Sometimes the ears might can hide a little head structure a little bit, but just to kill any confusion, because like I've had Shorty boards that did stick straight up just like French's,
Mm-hmm.
and I don't want the confusion. I try to have mine cut before they even leave the. If I sell a Shorty board as a pup, I make sure they're cropped before they even leave, because I don't want the confusion. I don't want, if it comes from my yard, I want people to be able to say distinctly that that's a Shorty board.
Mm-hmm.
And some, don't get me wrong, I've seen some nice Shorty boards with ears. Some have ear sets that just naturally look good and nice, but for me, I can't deal with the Frenchy ear,
Mm-hmm.
the Batman look. Nah, I prefer a nice short crop, and I prefer the nice short crop. But like I said, I think in other countries, some of them they're not allowed to crop the dogs. So I've seen some nice shorties from overseas with ears, and so I'm not knocking them at all. It's just my personal preference. I like a nice short crop.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Like, don't get me wrong. I have seen some really, really nice dogs with really, really nice ear sets.
Yeah.
They look really good, and you can actually look at them even though they have ears, and you can distinctly say that's a Shorty board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so not knocking anybody else's style. I just prefer a nice short crop, and to me, for head shape purposes, it really accentuates the head shape in my opinion.
Yeah, most definitely.
I mean, typical bulldog issues. I mean, I think the first thing that people was worried about was the cataracts, and I mean, that just comes from the first thing that people was worried about was the cataracts, and I mean, that just comes from, if you test your dogs, you're pretty much good. Like, health testing with dogs is very important. And that way, if you do have a dog with cataract, you don't breed it, or you don't breed it to another carrier. So, certain things are easy to wash out. But it's typical bulldog stuff. It's just not the norm. Like the soft palates, you still get those bulldog traits that come through every now and then. That's why I was saying, like, you really got to play a happy medium with these dogs, because if you start leaning towards that English bulldog look, it's gonna bring the problems.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it's typical bulldog traits that health problems that you would expect from a bulldog, but like I said, that just comes from breeding towards that way,
Right.
Like if you don't want it, it's easy to breed away from it. That's how I've always looked at it.
Right.
So if I've had a dog with any kind of breathing problems, any kind of health problems, either it's not going to get bred, or it's not going to get bred too close to anything like itself. So that's the way I look at it. I mean, I've had a couple of dogs with soft colors, and that's pretty much the only problem that I've had. I had one with some eye problems, which it's kind of typical for bulldog, English bulldogs anyway. But I haven't had anything serious to where I look at it as a real problem. It's just typical bulldog problem. Yeah. Which, like I said, can easily be bred away from.
You talked about health testing. So you health test your dogs and
Yes, I do. Especially for cataracts. Mm-hmm. Anyway, I make sure I send out for cataracts, because I do remember, at one point it was a problem, and so I've always made sure to test for cataracts. I try to test for hips, and that's pretty much all I'm testing for right now. And that's just because, like I said, at one point it was considered a problem. Like I came into the breed like most, and I just thought it was everything was healthy. But like any breed you get into, everything is not gonna be 100% a certain type of way.
Right.
So, you know, it's always best just to test your dogs and see what's going on. If you see a problem, I mean, like I said, it's easy to breed away from that stuff,
right.
To eliminate it. That's how I look at it. It's a problem that's getting put on.
Yeah.
There's no sense into, you know, messing up the gene pool.
Mm-hmm. And who did you get your first Shorty bull from?
My first Shorty bull actually came from a guy named Haley.
Mm-hmm.
It was a blue white Shorty bull, and her name was Lush. And that was my first Shorty bull. I bought her for the house, and never looked back, man. And she was an older female. Like I said, I really didn't have too many plans on breeding. She was a really, really small dog, really small, and really nice looking dog. Like I said, for me personally, I wanted to get, you know, I bought the style of dog I like, and I wanted to breed in my yard and get my look myself, you know, for what I like. Mm-hmm. And then when I seen what I had, like I said, I'm still in the process of developing everything that I want. So
right.
When time comes that I need to reach out to somebody else's yard, I'm sure what I like and what I don't like about my dogs that I've bred personally. And then I can reach out and dabble in other, you know, other people's dogs. Like I said, I'm still pretty much trying to develop the look that
mm-hmm.
that I want with the dogs that I have. And go from there. And I think the breed, personally, I think the breed would be in a better place if more people did their own thing and then reach back out for help. Because I don't know why, but the breed is not growing like it should, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And like I said, for this breed to be so great, it's not close to what it should be, in my opinion.
Right.
For me, having these dollars as long as I have, I mean, I feel like everybody should have one. That's just my personal opinion. But that's how I feel. I feel like it should be on the level of the English Bulldog and the French Bulldog. Mm-hmm. I know the French and English Bulldogs have been out way, way longer, but in my opinion, it should be as popular as those two breeds. Mm-hmm. And so I just feel like, you know, the Shorty Bull breeders really need to push a little harder to get the breed a little more mainstream.
And where do you who do you register with? What registry?
I personally went through I probably shouldn't even say this, but I have a real hard time with registers because it just doesn't flow the way I need it to. But I've registered with BBCR and BBC. For people who get dogs from me, I tell them they can go register with once you get I think the BBC and BBCR are the mother breeds pretty much. So you have to have one or the other to register with other breeds, with other registries. Like I said, with the Shorty Bull, it's politics like any other breed, and I believe it's a little controversy going on with registries and who you can register to and how you can register to ABKC. Like I said, I'm kind of a state of myself, so I'm really not sure what's going on too much with the politics and all that stuff. But yeah, the registries are a little shaky right now. But BBC and BBCR, I believe, are still the mother registries to the Shorty Bull. And so many registries, there's so many bull breed registries out there now.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's 20 other registries to register Shorty Bulls. I just don't know all the names. Like I said, a new one pops up every day, so yeah. I'm really not sure. I know at one point, I believe they were trying to take the Shorty Bull to the AKC, maybe. And so I think that's still a work in progress. Like I said, I'm not sure, but I know at one point they were aiming in that direction.
Right. Yeah, I've stick with what you know and let everybody let everybody else figure it out.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, the registers, and like I said, with the new one popping up every day, the ones that we do have, you never know when you get your paperwork back, but it's neither here nor there, so I'll leave that alone.
Right, I hear you. Do you show your dogs, or do you plan on showing your dogs, or?
You know what? I don't show my dogs. I probably should, and it probably would help me better marketing, but I don't show my dogs. I really don't enjoy dog shows like I used to. I mean, when the American Bully was around, when I was doing that, I really enjoyed going to dog shows and actually, just to interact with other breeders and to see and put your hands on dogs. But in my opinion, the dog shows these days is really not a lot of socializing, a lot of interacting, because everybody's so serious and so busy getting back and forth to the ring. You hardly got time to even get your hands on the dog that you might have been watching on the internet or something for a couple of days. You're like, okay, I want to see this dog and actually put my hands on it. But the owner might be so busy getting his dog back and forth to the ring, you actually don't get to ever put your hands on the dog. So, I mean, it's not my thing right now. I try my hardest to get my dogs into people's hands that would like to show, just for, to help the notoriety out for my kennel a little more. But it's not really a point of focus for me. So I'm always going to breed for the standard, but producing a show, having a show champion is not my aim.
Yeah, no, I respect.
I rather have. My aim is to create a dog that you look at and say, "Wow, that's a nice dog."
Yeah,
and that's it. And if it gets in the hands of a person that's going to take it to the show ring and put it out there, that's great. If it doesn't, if it just goes to a home and ends up being somebody's lap dog, that's fine with me too.
No doubt.
Yeah, and it's funny you said, because I really thought about doing the show thing, but like I said, that's an expensive thing. I got 4 kids, 4 young kids at that, so traveling around the country trying to show a dog, I ain't cut out for it right now.
No. Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. Maybe when you start to wind down a little bit, maybe that'd be something to do.
And nothing against people to show. I mean, if that's their thing, I love to see nice dogs, and if they had a show ring that's doing that thing, that's great. But with the Shorty Boards, to me, with the competition, with it being so little Shorty Boards in the ring, I mean, it wouldn't mean nothing for me to champion a dog. I don't think it would do anything for me. So
yeah.
It's one of those things. Hopefully one day.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Talk about your kennel setup. What does that look like?
I'm in transition right now. I just got some concrete laid, and I dropped a 24 by 20 slab of concrete. I'm probably going to get 2 runs of kennels under a carport on the concrete. Them 2 fancy. I got a couple of storage buildings for litters I have, and I got those. I put walls up and electricity and those and all that for my weapon rooms and stuff like that. But for years I done it in the house, and realized my daughter was allergic to dogs real late, so I had to pretty much move everything out of my house and try to get everything situated. But I'm actually in transition right now. I have my dogs are kind of close to my house right now, which I don't like that. So here's something I'll be moving everything back towards the back of my yard and getting everything how I need it. But yeah, I kind of I had to cut some trees down in my backyard, so I had to move all my dogs. And, I don't know how good you are with stuff like that, but once I did that 2 years ago, and I haven't moved my dogs back to the back of my yard yet.
No,
so I'm a procrastinator at the most. So yeah, I'm in the middle of getting everything back like it needs to be. Hopefully, when I get it all set up, I can take a nice video and let everybody see that I finally got it together.
Yeah.
No,
so
when I thought I was breeding American Bullies, and I thought I was doing good, and I thought I was looking like a professional, I went to a good friend of mine, Dathan, down in Mobile Blues in Georgia. I went to his yard and I said, you know what, I'm not doing it right. I'm not doing it good enough. So he gave me a real good blueprint of what a good setup should look like.
Yeah.
And so I've been aiming for that ever since I left his yard years and years ago. So I'm in the process of getting it together. But for a while, I just, I always kept, as long as I had a kennel room with a tarp over the top, I felt like I was doing good. But now that, when the dogs make some money for me, I put it right back into the dogs and get exactly what I need. I've been working towards that for a while now.
No.
Like I said, I'm pretty much the worst at like building stuff. So I always have to call somebody and pay probably too much.
Yeah. No, I'm the same way. I got two left thumbs. I've never been good with tools, and all my whole working career has been dealing in the people business. So I could sit and talk to people and try to motivate them and help them out, and then that's it. Get me to build something, you're in trouble. Yeah.
Well, at least you got one on how you can talk to the people and motivate them to do it for you.
Yeah, exactly.
I really, like I said, when it's outside of dogs, man, it's like, if I'm not talking about dogs, I'm pretty much not saying too much anything.
Right. Yeah, that's me. That's why
I was like, even with dogs, man, I'm pretty much to myself. Like I said, I'm pretty much to myself, man, and all about making a better dog, man. And it might be a bad thing as far as promotion for me, but that's just how it's been for years. And hopefully one of these days, I'll get out of my shell and get to these shows and really get to moving around. But as of right now, man, I just keep my focus on making good dogs and getting them in good homes, man.
So being a family man, do you is your family involved with the dogs? Do they help you out? And do they? When
I first met my wife years ago, she was scared of dogs, so she still doesn't want to do too much with them. Now my kids love them. They get out there with them, and they help me clean and do all of that stuff. But that's, like I said, that's a double-edged sword in itself, because it's a business. A lot of times it's still a business. So if their favorite dog is leaving because somebody offers some money, it turns into a real problem. So I've lost money just because my kids are so attached to a certain dog that's really not breeding material. But that's the dog they prefer to play with. So it's just one of those things. Hopefully, when they get older, they'll realize, the situation. But as of right now, I got a 9-year-old, 7-year-old, 5, and a 1-year-old. So they don't understand the business behind that. So that's all they know is, this is Mikey, this is my best friend.
Right. So, having 13 dogs, what kind of diet do you feed them?
I actually right now I feed Victor, but that's another thing. I'm in a process of switching over. I went back and forth with feeding the raw diet, but with me, it's so time consuming to that's a hard thing to keep up for me anyway.
Yeah.
But I just invested in a better meat grinder and a deep freezer to really get it going. I was actually like every day Monday I go grind up the food, feed it to him. It was like I was grinding every day instead of actually grinding, storing it in the freezer and just taking it out when it's ready to use. So it was getting hard for me to keep up, staying consistent with feeding that way. So it's just a lot easier for me to feed dog food. And I was feeding Victor, which is fairly expensive when you got a lot of dogs. But you know, that's one of those things. I tell a lot of people, man, when you get into dogs, if you don't love dogs, it's not for you. Like everybody doesn't like cleaning up dogs. Excuse my language.
Yeah, no.
Everybody doesn't like doing that. So I mean, between doing that and buying dog food and you know visits here and there, and you know, if you don't really have a love for these dogs, breeding is not the place for you. And there's a lot of people that just want to make a quick buck off these dogs that really have no clue what they're getting themselves into.
Yeah.
Because I'm probably still in the red.
Yeah. No, I believe it.
I'm probably still in the red. But you know, I mean, like I said, I wouldn't change anything. I really love breeding these dogs. Like I said, I've had numerous people come to me and tell me like, well, you don't breed exotics and there's more money in Frenchies or you know this or that. And I'm like, man, I don't like Frenchies. I can't breed exotics because I like dogs that can walk. I mean, you know, it's just I have a love for Shorty boards, and that's why I have them. That's why I breed them, because I really love these dogs, and I wouldn't, like I said, I wouldn't change anything about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a friend that tried to talk me into what was it, a cane course? Like he was trying to talk me into. He was like, man, you need something to take those Shorty. Yeah. I was like, no, I don't need anything that big. I've paid these little dogs for so long that any dog looks huge to me.
Right, yeah.
I was at the park the other day and I seen some bullies and I was like, wow, those dogs are huge. And they probably went, what, 17 inches maybe, 70 pounds. But I was like, wow, these are huge. Yeah, but it's, like I said, it's work in progress, man.
Yeah.
No, man, like I said, I appreciate you giving me a chance to talk about my dog and voice my opinion. Like I said, I really don't do too much talking, but like I said, I appreciate the opportunity to sit down and talk to you, man. It's gonna sound crazy, but every time I get to rolling,
yeah,
I have certain times a year that it seems like none of my dogs get pregnant. I don't know what's going on, but I actually have I should have I actually have my website TSU.shortyboard.com, and I always keep it updated and any future breeds I have is on the website, and I'm also on Facebook and Instagram under TSU Shorty Boards. And so, like I said, I try to keep all of that updated and breeds and all my dogs, pictures. I have thousands of pictures, and anytime I have breeds, man, I try to advertise them there. So whatever's coming up, man, I'll have it on there. Hopefully it'll be something soon.
Yeah, and like I said, if anytime you got something to say and you feel like you want to come on, just hit me up and we'll do it. We'll do this again anytime you want. So,
man, I appreciate it. I really appreciate it. This is great, man. I like what you're doing. And, it's plenty of breeders out there, man. And
Yeah.
that will, I'm sure they're gonna love talking about their dogs on here.